What's up? It's good friend Lukie, and I'm on with my good buddy Simon Martinez, boxing coach, boxing expert, and New York State Golden Gloves champion, right, Simon?
That's correct.
Who do you have that in common with Camacho and who else?
Well, Camacho was a little before that, but uh, there was a couple of Luis Resto was in my bracket. Who else? Uh, we had Davy Moore. I lost in the quarterfinals of Davy Moore. He was an Olympic gold medalist and everything, but I was in a hella bracket. I was in 147. I went up from 135.
Okay, well, that's good. So the big thing everyone's going to want to hear about, we're obviously going to want your advice about young fighters, and we're going to get that on the back end. But the big thing everyone's tuning into the show about is Canelo versus Munguia.
Yes.
Simon, what do you think of this matchup? Canelo Munguia, is this the best matchup that could be made? Is this an okay matchup? What do you think when you look at this matchup that I think it's being charged about $90 on pay-per-view?
Right. Well, you know, I I watched his fights, man. I didn't know nothing about Munguia until he fought Valdez, until he fought Navarrete. He beat Navarrete twice. The
Simon,
first
I
one
gotta
was
stop you there.
yeah.
Munguia fought Gabe Rosado. He
Oh
fought
no, no,
John
Gabe
Ryder. He's
Rosado.
at
That's
super
right.
middleweight.
It
Yeah.
was Gabe Rosado. Yeah, I know it was one of your favorites. But yeah, he fought Navarrete. He fought John Ryder. And he's devastating. He's heavy-handed with both hands. So I honestly think that he's a good opponent. Maybe not the best one. We always want to look for that fight with Benavidez, but Munguia has earned the right to be where he's at this
But let's
venue.
talk about it because most people are looking at it, and I want to get your perspective as a coach. I get that Munguia is a good fighter, and I think he's a dangerous opponent because he's reckless and he's going to throw his hands and he hits hard. But most people want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo. Why isn't that fight happening? I think that's the bigger issue is it's not that this fight isn't good, it's that there's a great all-time matchup that's not being made.
Well, this is the thing. I believe that, you know, Munguia has earned his right to be there. You got to look at the pay-per-view numbers. Yes, Benavidez will draw, but the risk is higher than the reward for Canelo. And not only that, Canelo has he has a history of being knocked down. He has a history of, Caleb Plant was putting it on him for one time. Even Andre in the beginning was putting it on him. I don't really think he would weather a storm with Canelo. Canelo has a high guard. He has a body and head attack that's relentless. And I think in the later rounds, Benavidez would fade out because of his youth and his lack of experience.
So, where do you see Canelo at this point in his career? Because Canelo's very rich, but he's extreme and one of the best fighters. And when you're rich and popular, you're obviously going to get a label where people, quote unquote, say you're overrated. But he's one of the 10 best fighters, quite obviously. Where do
Correct.
you see this version of Canelo? Do you think he's a beatable version of Canelo? Do you think he's now maybe being undervalued just because the Benavidez fight isn't
I
being made?
think I think he's been undervalued because this is a guy that he was so comfortable in his division, beating Triple G, beating a lot of top fighters and everything like that. And then he took a chance. He took a chance with Vivo. And Vivo was the bigger man and everything like that. And he learned a lot from that. But he's always matching himself to his potential. And I don't think Benavidez is to his potential. I think he would fade in the later rounds. And I think that, his defense is unbelievable. I don't think Benavidez defense is even up to par with his. And in the later rounds, yeah, he would fall susceptible to that body and head attack. And it will happen the same thing like Caleb Plant. He'll wear him down. And the reality is that Caleb Plant is a great boxer, but his life was on the line in the later rounds with Canelo. Benavidez the same. So I just think that Benavidez has to just wait a little bit. More marketable will probably be a fight with Canelo and maybe Crawford. I think that would be a great fight. I think that the public would love a fight like that. But otherwise than that, I think that Munguia is a real good fight. I think it's exciting. Anything can happen. And whoever's strategy is the best, that's who's going to win in that fight.
So when you look at this matchup, it's a pay-per-view fight this weekend, and Canelo, one of the big talking points is this today. There was a press conference and Oscar and Canelo got into it. Canelo brought up the fact that, or Oscar brought up the fact that Canelo had failed a drug test here and there. He brought up that Golden Boy had promoted Canelo. Canelo cussed at him in Spanish. Are we tuning in this week to see the Munguia fight, or are we tuning in to see Canelo and Oscar bicker at each other?
I think that historically, I think Oscar has liked to publicize his fights with Garcia, with everybody. He's very controversial, and right now, I think his biggest threat is Eddie Hearn. And I think they're just trying to sell the fight. From what I understand, I don't know if the fight sold out or not, but it's struggling. So they're gonna do everything they can to pump this fight, and that's one of the flaws of boxing right now. They got to do something spectacular to sell a fight, and the public's getting tired of it. They're not buying into this. Oh, this guy's using drugs. This guy's doing that. I think they should just do this fight on their merits and not have to pump the fight. But yeah, De La Hoya is a guy that, look what Ryan Garcia lost. He was not there to face the music with him, but when he won, he's all over the place, mugging and everything like that. Not a good fighter, not one of my favorite promoters.
So how excited are you about this Canelo pay-per-view? How's the Martinez household gonna be? Are you gonna be watching it? Are you that excited? Like, where does this rank in the boxing calendar? Because if we're being honest, 2024 so far, we haven't had a lot of big fights.
No, I could tell you right now that it's not. It won't be it'll be an exciting fight. From a rating from 1 to 10, it'll probably be like 6 on my radar. Of course, I'm going to see it because I'm a boxing fan, but I thoroughly enjoyed Ryan Garcia versus Haney. That was a very hype fight. I was
You predicted
very,
it.
very attentive.
You predicted it.
Is what?
You called it. You called my phone and you told me that was going to happen. I didn't believe you.
Well, I faced a lot of criticism from boxing coaches all around saying that, Ryan's a wacko, this and that. They didn't know. I knew the play. The minute that I saw the dressing room and he was playing mellow music and he was concentrating, I knew it was a problem. You know what I mean? I knew that he was focused. And, I'm one of the few people that was in West Virginia with Sierra when I saw Ryan Garcia fight Haney, and he totally dominated him. It was a decision, yes, but he was catching him with that left hook. I told you that when Haney throws the left jab, he keeps the right hand down, and Derrick James is he's one of the best trainers in the game. I had to see this not by reputation, but by going to his gym with Jamal Harvey and having him spar with Frank Martin and seeing how he jacks up the heat, to make people lose weight. I knew that bringing him over the weight was a strategy that worked, and I don't think it came much into play because Haney came in as overweight as well. But it was a real good surprise, and it was very exciting. And I know you enjoyed it as well.
Well, I like anything that's shocking in the sport of boxing. Let's get into now. I mean, undercard fights for this card. We got Mario Barrios versus Marcos Maidana's brother, Fabian Maidana. That's an action-packed fight. We got Brandon Figueroa, Jesse Magdaleno. That's a really good fight. And then a fight I'm looking forward to, Stanionis versus Gabriel Maestre. Great undercard, but let's be honest, probably 99% of the people just clicked on this video to see Canelo, Canelo, Canelo. So if you tune in, we're going to have a recap show, but it's basically Canelo, Canelo, and some more Canelo. People just texted my phone. They're probably talking about Canelo. Right. Simon, what do you think about possibly fighters turning pro early What are your thoughts about professional boxing, given that you have experience as an amateur coach? What
Yes.
is your philosophy and your belief for
Okay.
people there?
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to be crystal clear on this. You know, faced with the possibility of Sierra fighting in the Pan Am Games, you know, that was an invitation that was there for Sierra because she was a #1 ranked fighter, and going to camp, Sierra had to graduate from high school. She had to graduate on time with her fellow students, and I chose the high road. I education first, and I think that a lot of these fighters turning pro at 17, 16, they're shaking the dice, and they're almost hoping that they have a successful, career. However, the graveyard of boxing is full of carcasses of young 17-year-old, 18-year-old fighters that either get a draw or they lose, and then they get put on the bench, and then they have no education. They don't have a high school diploma. They don't have college. And then, as you well know, Lucas, man, boxing, is not something that you're going to get a pension from. You either do good and make $1 million, and if not, you got to get a regular job. And then you're far behind the curve as far as education is concerned. So education first before that. So if you ask me what I think about young fighters turning pro, I just think that unless they have a good deal, a great signing bonus, or anything like that, it's ridiculous. It's goofy. It
Well,
don't
let
make
me
sense.
throw this to you. Um, what do you think is like a good age or a good prerequisite for a fighter to turn pro? Meaning, like, should a fighter not turn pro until they're 20 unless they have a big offer from a promoter? Should they have to have won at least 4 national titles if they want to turn pro? What are some of the check marks you'd put out there?
Okay, you checked all the boxes in regards to, because we think alike, and I think that, if you are within the ages of 19, 20, you have graduated from high school, you have the ability to be able to travel, and you have a good sponsor, and the signing bonus is 6 figures or better. It's a good, look at Jahil Hackett, look at Curtis Moulton, Carmel Moulton. I
Gabriel
know those
Flores
kids.
Jr., Xander Zayas, they signed for good money, good
Look at
deals.
Vargas. Yes,
Yep.
that worked out for them. But on let me ask you this: on 100% percentile, how many percentage of those boxers are successful?
Well, I mean, you and I both know you could have the most talented fighter ever, and it's up to life. It's not up to the skill. So to have a successful pro career, a lot has to go right, and talent is only
Right.
part of the equation.
Look, I can tell you right now, and from personal experience, I've had, a lot of offers brought to me. Because I talk those offers with you, and things of the zone and things of split T and everything like that. These are just offers that are put on paper, and they have to manifest themselves to the point that my daughter would have to train 3 days a week. I mean, 3 times a day. She would have to go to a camp far away from home. She wouldn't be able to, enjoy her life. Like right now, she was recently, engaged and married. And I don't think she would be able to do that if she was in the full throes of a training camp. And, as recently, we got a offer for the Combat League. Like it just doesn't resonate. Mayweather ruined the game for everybody because he made it that if you have a loss, you're not marketable anymore. And we know that that's not true. But right now, you got to have a peer. Look at Munguia. He has an undefeated record. Where is he now? He's making millions of dollars, but he kept his record intact. And there's other people that that we
Well, I
won't
mean,
even mention those.
let's stay with Jaime Munguia, right?
Let's stay
Like
with Munguia.
Munguia has been moved after winning a world title very carefully to keep an undefeated record in hopes of fighting a really high profile opponent to make a
Yeah,
lot of money. And
right.
then if he fights Canelo really well, He's going to get a ton of big money fights. If he doesn't fight him well, he'll probably get 1 or 2 more fights. But the point was, how can
Yes.
you move him to get big money? I think that what's hurting boxing is it's not about how can we build legacy and build great nights for the fans and the
Right.
sport. It's just kind of how can we move this fighter to make a ton of money? And I think
Right.
that's what's hurt the sport.
So I'm gonna answer that with a rebuttal that comes from my heart. And this is the thing. Before COVID, you could do that. You could get bum of the months. Like in New England, they get like they shop in these guys from all over the world with losing records. They build you up to 10-0 in the hopes that you get a title fight or something near that. You get a continental title and everything like that. But you based your record on garbage. Look at Andre. I told you that. Celebrate an amateur.
Simon, you can't throw my guy Demetrius Andrade under the
I
bus
could.
like that.
I could.
Demetrius a really good fighter, bro.
Okay. All right. But this is the thing. And then when we talk about theoretically throwing somebody under the bus, he threw himself in the bus. I'm the boogeyman. No one wants to fight me. This and that and that. And then when they give him a fight that's not up to his caliber, it was Benavidez. He had to quit on his stool like a guy that never
I mean,
fought in
I
the world.
just think Demetrius had a rough go with things, but I think Demetrius is an extremely talented fighter who another example of just because you're talented, you don't have the career you probably should have had,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Well, it was, he went to circuit. He was with Hearn. He was with a lot of people. He went, there was a lot of every time when you call somebody out, and you got to agree with me on this. When you call somebody out, I want Canelo, I want this, I want that. And when they offer you something like go fight Charlo, go fight this, and you turn down that, then you don't really want that
Well, I think
noise.
the problem with Demetrius, in my opinion, Simon, is
Yes, sir.
he didn't have those exciting performances. So
Okay.
like when he was with DAZN, it's like a lot of times he'd take guys 12 rounds that shouldn't have gone 12 rounds with him.
Yeah.
And it felt like the fans wouldn't get behind him. And I think that's what's frustrating about Benavidez is having some really exciting fights where the fans are like, we want to see him fight Canelo, and Canelo's not fighting him. For
Yeah.
me, Demetrius needed some of those kind of dominant look. I guess the thing with Demetrius that was always frustrating to me, I knew he was
Yes.
extremely talented, but sometimes he'd look like he was at the same level as a guy that wasn't as talented as him. And it's hard to kind of put pressure on a big A side money guy and
Yes.
land those fights when you're just having fights that aren't that action packed and exciting. It
You're
makes it
right.
easy for a Canelo to go, what does he bring in? He's not very exciting. He doesn't have fans. Like the fans come or become fans of fighters when you have exciting performances. That's part of the rubric. A lot of guys can be from the middle of nowhere. Terrence Crawford's from Nebraska. He's exciting. People follow him because he's exciting.
Right. But this is the thing, when I talk shop with you, I got to be careful what I say and how I say it because I got to have some kind of record behind me to back it up. And we spoke at length. I told you I didn't even think Haney won that fight with Lomachenko. And he fought Cambosis. Styles make fights and everything like that. But right now, would you say this? I would say that Haney's a B-side fighter now. Yes or no?
No, I don't think he's a
Okay,
B-side
okay, and
fighter.
I'll,
I
I'll,
think
I'll, I want to quantify what I just said. If they match a fight right now, with him and Tank, is he A side or B side?
well, that's just the structure of the sport. Tank makes
Okay, oh
more
no, but that's
money and
just
he's
I
coming
mentioned
off a
one.
loss.
I mentioned one. If he fights Teofimo Lopez right now, A side or B side?
I mean, that's a tricky one because Teofimo has a really strange promotional situation. We got to see what's happening with him. Uh, I don't know, but I get what you're saying. When you're coming off a loss, your name's probably going to be second on the poster.
Correct. You're only as good as your last round. And the thing is that to keep that, in the Mayweather era, it's going to be hard to keep an undefeated record. Like today, Munguia will lose his undefeated record. I mean, this weekend he will
I mean,
lose
he's
his
probably going to get
undefeated
knocked
record.
out. What do you think? Knocked out or unanimous
Okay, so this
decision?
is my prediction. I'm usually spot on. You can check out my DraftKings and see that I've made quite a bit of money betting on these fights. I will bet on this fight, but I got to put a lot to make a little bit. But the thing is that I say I say 8, 9, and 10 are going to be the telling rounds. I think he's gonna, yeah, I think he's gonna, because that kid dies on his shield. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to stop that fight because he won't stop it on his own. He's going to
I
get
think
cut up.
Munguia is too aggressive. I think
He's
that
too
it's
aggressive.
hard to be very aggressive against Canelo because he hits so hard and he's a good
Right,
counterpuncher.
right. And he's going to tire you out. He's going to walk. Look, I used to do that with Sierra. Sierra, that girl, she's a Texas fighter. She's going to throw a bunch of punches. Go into the high guard and walk towards her. Sierra used to go in the high guard, move ahead, let her base punches and everything. And sure enough, at the end of the first round or second round, she would get tired, and then she would give the bolo punches, take more out, and then just play. Then score points with the 1-2. So it's a strategy. And Canelo has one of the best trainers in the business. He's done this for a long time, and I just think he's going to wear him out. So yeah, absolutely, I
Simon,
agree
it's
with you.
experience, man. Like,
Yes,
yes, anything can happen, but it's like Canelo's been in with a lot of legends.
yes,
Munguia's been in with some really good fighters, but he doesn't have the experience at this level. I think
correct,
for me, Munguia is going to be very emotional in this fight, whereas Canelo is going to be very calm because every fight is this magnitude for him.
correct. I agree. There's nothing, I can't even debate with you on that. You're spot on in what you're saying. I'm just saying that there's a lot of fabricated so-called champions, and if you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. I'm the boogeyman. No one can beat me. Everybody's ducking me. Then you get your time to shine, and then you quit on your stool.
But that's this
No,
generation. That's this generation
you're
is
right.
there's a
You're right.
lot of people out there. I think that what we need to get back to is instead of talk
Yeah,
talk fighting, we need to just get in the ring and not care about records because the problem is we have a ton of lightweights, right, in the lightweight division, and most of them are undefeated. And that's just a crime because they should be fighting each other and we should have
right,
maybe two undefeated fighters. We shouldn't have the top 10 in a division where everyone's undefeated.
right. If I had a matchup fight right now, I would match Teofimo Lopez with Matias. Let's go. That's a big fight. Do it in Madison Square Garden. I will fly there. I will be at ringside, and I would totally enjoy a fight with Subriel, again, a guy that's made 5 people quit on their stool, top fighters against Teofimo Lopez, who went out of the box to say that Puerto Rican fighters are easy to beat. He would have to show me that. I would
I
have
mean,
to.
to me, with Matisse, he's the guy that I don't see anybody really calling out in that division. Like, do you
Yeah.
notice what I mean? Like, everyone's kind of like, oh, what does he bring to the table? Like, him and David Morrell, I'm not hearing guys call those two out.
No. Or even Boots. No one's calling Boots out.
Yeah, nobody's really calling boots out. Like, those three people, and our guy Charles Conwell for that matter. I don't hear anybody
Oh,
calling out
no,
Conwell.
no one's calling bad news. No one's calling him. Listen, I went to the Aquabat camp with Edwin Rivera, Ota. We were there. I seen this guy hit the bag. I wouldn't want to get hit by Conwell. Like, it's unfortunate, man, that Subriel and him have one thing in common. They've killed a fighter in the ring. That's nothing to,
But it's not their fault, is what
it's
people should
not their fault,
understand.
but it's the volume of punches. It's the gifted punch that they have, and when we go to the other side of the spectrum, that's something that Ryan has. He has a gifted punch. It's God given, and wherever he lands that, you have to agree. In the beginning rounds of Tank was on his bike. Tank was running away from that. He just wanted to get him tired and everything like that. And
Well,
then
Ryan's a
that
puncher. Ryan's a real puncher.
he's a real puncher.
He's a real puncher. And
Right.
what do you think of Frank Martin versus Tank? We'll just go big fights right now. They're saying that's
Okay,
happening.
okay. So I I can tell you this, man. Derek is a good friend of mine. I love him. I've been there with the Reyes camp. We went there, and we know how he trains, Frank. He's a real good fighter. We went. Daryl gave me the opportunity to bring Jamal Harvey up there, an Olympian, to there to spar him, and it's just sparring. But it was the style. He was very elusive and everything like that. Tank, not so elusive. He'll have to bang. So I think that again, like Canelo and Munguia, he'll wear him down in the long run. But Frank is I've seen him up close. He's very muscular. He looks like a weightlifter. He hits hard, but you can't hit what you can't see. So if Tank uses a lot of angles and everything like that, he'll win a decision. But I don't see Tank knocking out Frank. I really don't.
Who's faster?
I have to say Tank is a tad bit faster. Frank is a quick fighter. He has very good reflexes. He's very acrobatic. You know what I mean? Everything like that. But so is Tank. And Tank, he's fluid. You know what I mean? And he's just naturally gifted. The world will never see another fighter like Tank anytime soon. He's just that gifted. And Calvin Ford, a good friend of mine, has done a great job with him. So when you ask me who's faster, it's hard to gauge something like that because I don't think Frank's known for his speed, but Tank is.
Well, Tank's kind of special because he's known for kind of everything. He's fundamentally sound. He hits hard. He's fast. He's
Yes.
elusive. It's like he's kind of in my opinion, Tank's like the hardest lightweight to fight because he's kind of got every dimension.
What you're the interviewer, but want to ask you what do you think we're looking like going into the Olympic trials to Thailand with this Team USA? What's your spin on it, knowing what you know about the fighters?
I mean, look, I think we got a good squad. I think Jamal and Omari are really, really talented. I think they've got good chances at medals. They've already qualified. I think Jahira is good. And look, we've got a lot of people to qualify still, and hopefully a few emerge. Look, it's not rocket science. Some people won't qualify. I don't know who it would be. That's just the nature of this beast. But I'm expecting 2 to 3 fighters to qualify in Thailand. What are you thinking?
If it was me, I would put Dedrick Crocklin in there. I would put Terry Washington in there. I would put all the alternates that they deem not worthy in the evaluation camp. To be honest, on a personal note, I would put my daughter in there. My daughter has won a gold medal in Poland. Yes, it was in the junior thing, but she's fought in Ireland. She's fought in Canada, has good thing, not have to struggle now that if the next person, Mendoza, does not qualify in Thailand, we will be going into the Olympics less a weight class. The 125 will not be represented. If we lose, I don't think Raheem's at its top a game. So if let's hear a prediction because I know you run this back to me, and then
I think Raheem's going to qualify. I think Alyssa should qualify.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, these two have been really, really dominant amateurs. They should qualify.
Okay.
I think it's hard to tell, right? Because it's like I've been focused on a lot of different things, so I'm not as up to date with the amateur boxing scene, and it seems like a lot of the people I know in amateur boxing are transitioning to the pros.
I could tell you this, predictions that you have an overview. I have one. I say Jamal Harvey will be the only one getting a gold medal or any type of medal at all.
No one else. I don't believe that. I think that we're going to get more medals.
Remember, I said it. Jamal Harvey will be the only one getting in the medal range in regards to gold or silver. Jahira will not win a gold medal or silver. Jennifer Lozano will not get a gold or silver. Raheem will not get a gold or silver. Omari, I don't know. The jury's still out on him. You know what I mean? So I think that.
See, I gotta fight back here. I think we got some really good fighters, Simon. Like, okay. I think Jahira is
Yeah.
not just capable of winning gold, but she's capable of stopping a
So
bunch of people.
we're going into these trials with 7 unqualified boxers that have to now hope to fight
But
Great
Raheem
Britain.
should be qualified. He won the 2021 Worlds. Like, I don't know how he's not qualified
The
yet.
thing is that it should be relatively easy because I believe that this was top 4. So you got to be in the top 4. You got to be like, it's an epic fail if you don't get in the top 4. But what I'm trying to tell you is that we always gauge things on. Let me use an abstract example. If you're a potato farmer and you value yourself as a good potato farmer and you harvest your crop but you yield no potatoes, are you really a good potato farmer? If you haven't toiled the soil the way you have, and any in any entity, whether it be Team USA, whether it be any kind of team at all, without relegating myself to anything, if your team is underachieving and you have 10 fighters and only one or two will stand out, and bear in mind, Billy, was I know him personally. I've been to all the camps. He did not fundamentally have these fighters. They came in blessed. Morrell McCain came in blessed. Jamal Harvey, got blessed by Darryl. They came in with these styles that he tried to add on to, but these are completed products. And the other ones he had to develop. A good job? I don't know. The jury's out on that. We'll see in the Olympics if his input into this was successful. And if he's not around next year as a coach, then we know why.
Okay. Well, we're on our final warning for our Zoom meeting. So what's the
Yes, sir.
last thing you wanted to talk about, Simon?
I want to talk about, my relationship with you and how proud I am of you with ProBox and everything that you've done and all the sponsors you've had and how you've gone through hoops, man, to get to where you are. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate you. Our family appreciate you. Daryl, Jamal, everybody that you have, upheld, amateurs, we all tip our hat to you and we thank you for that. My daughter, she had just got married. You know what I mean? She has completed the circle in what she has done. And we just want to, we're marveling and we're in awe of what you've done with all the entities that you've done and all the boxers, and that you would have time for the amateurs after dealing with all these pros. I tip my hat to you, sir.
Well, it's always nice to hear that. What's one last prediction for professional boxing this year? What's one Simon prediction?
My prediction is that with now in the era of Triller and this craziness with Tyson, almost 60-year-old guy with them, I think my prediction is that boxing's dying. It's on its last legs. I think that right now that's why combat leagues are very popular. UFC is very popular. Mayweather's right. Boxing is on the way out. The way things are going. I hope not, because I'm a boxing fan. But boxing as we know it, old school, the fighters fight each other, everybody ducking each other. They done ruined this sport. That there's only going to be a few fights that I want to watch. It's political, seeing what Harvey Dock did, and all these other judges that see everything. It's just confusing. And I would have to say that boxing right now is a little bit corrupt.
So where can people follow you? Do you even want people to follow you?
No, I'm on the back end of boxing. I'm a fan right now. My main contribution to boxing was winning these 11 championships, the national titles of my daughter, having her be Boxer of the Year, being the first Puerto Rican to be the Olympic trials champion. It's a great honor, and I'm glad that you were able to share it with us.
Right on. Well, that is the show for today, Simon. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
taking time. This has been the Canelo Munguia preview. We will be back later with more stuff. Talk to you soon.
God bless you.